Hello, Sonder fam. Welcome to this Sunday evening weekly setup. For those of you who may not know, my name is Bailey Grady, and I will be your facilitator today. And that just means that I'm going to be the one that is on camera, speaking, and going through the slides and things that we'll look at together today. If you're newer here, welcome. Let us know. Say like, hey, that's me, I'm new. Or if it's been a while and you're just now coming back, say, hey, that's me, I'm back, and welcome back. And as always, welcome back to all of our returning socialers. I already see lots of familiar names in the chat. But for those of you who maybe are new or haven't been here in a while, just so you know, or as a reminder, you do not have to worry about your cameras being on or off or being unmuted or not, because for you all of that is off, and the way that you will communicate with each other is in the chat, which means that you'll want to make sure that little blue box kind of near where you type is set to everyone. A lot of the times it will default to host and panelist, and sometimes depending on what type of device you're on, if it's like a tablet or a phone, sometimes even after you set it to everyone, it'll try to flip back to host and panelist, which if it says host and panelist, that will just come to myself and Katie, who is my wonderful wing woman tonight. She'll be hanging out in the chat with you all. And if you want to send a note to just us, feel free to use that. That's fine. We'll be able to see it. But if you want to share with the group, which is probably what you want to do, because the best things about Sonder Socials is being able to spend time together in real time. So you probably want to share with everybody here. And if that's the case, just make sure that little blue box is set to everyone. So that way everyone will be able to see what you have to share. As we go through, there'll be different examples and things up on the screen. Definitely feel free to take pictures or screenshots as we go. Also, if we move too fast through something, this is recorded. So we'll share the link to where you can find the recording for this, plus like thousands of other Sonder Social recordings. So if you have to like dip out early or join late, or if you wanted more time on a particular slide than what we had here tonight, no worries, it will be recorded and you should be able to go back and visit that in a couple of days up on the YouTube channel. We'll share that with all of you. And then whenever you get your journal and things done, if you would like to share pictures either of the journal itself or, you setting it up at your cozy spot in your room, cuddling with your pets, whatever that looks like for you, we would love to see that in Sonder Club, or you can always tag us on the socials, like Instagram at SoCodeSonder.com. So real quick, I will run through our community guidelines. So first and foremost, please be courteous to yourself and to others. No promotions or spam, please. We are going to respect everyone's privacy here. And of course, no hate speech or bullying is allowed. If you would limit repetitive product and accessory questions, we'll definitely do our best to help. And everyone here has great advice and things, I'm sure. But Sonder Club is actually a great place to ask for like recommendations for like stickers, pens, all that kind of stuff. And then if there's anything that myself or Katie cannot assist with, if it's more like a question for headquarters, we'll direct you over to their team at hello@silkandsonder.com. They are a small but mighty team, and they work Monday through Friday, so maybe give them a few days to get back to you. But if it's something that they will need to assist with, they definitely will be happy to help. Just give them a little bit of time, a little grace. And then finally, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So in a nutshell, that means this is your time. And whatever that means for you today, that's what we want you to do. Whether it is spending time just with yourself in your journal and completely ignoring the chat, totally fine. Or if it is mostly participating in the chat, maybe you've already done these pages in your journal and what you really need tonight is community. Or maybe you're going to take a little bit of time after the social and kind of finish up your journal at that time. If it's a mix of both as well, that's totally fine. We just want you to focus on whatever it is that you need here tonight. And if we encounter some sort of a prompt or something that starts bringing up some really big feelings, or the crunchy feelings, as I like to call them, and maybe it's something you were not expecting, if you want to try to work through those, we're here to support you in that. But if you're like, you know what, I don't have the capacity to deal with this today, it's totally fine to skip the prompt. You can come back to it at a later time or not at all. It's totally okay. You don't have to engage with something right now if you're not ready to. So I also want to go over our little community corner here. This is just like announcements about what may be coming up new with new features and things like that. For those of you who are participating in the personalized coaching, I want to let you all know that there's a new feature coming soon called the Vault, and it is going to contain like all the different master classes and some of the expert-led exclusive social recordings and things like that. That's all going to be included with access to the personalized coaching. There's also going to be some deeper learning and guided reflections coming into the vault as well. So if you're participating in personalized coaching, keep a lookout for that to come probably in the next week or so is what I'm hearing. So keep your eyes peeled. They're also going to do some other cool things, but I don't think they've announced it just yet. But just know it's super fun. I'm excited about it, but I don't think I can talk about it yet. But it's coming. Also, we just wrapped up our exclusive event for this month a couple days ago, but the next exclusive event that's coming is October 23rd with a special guest of Exploring Childhood Wounds. And we already have the link up for that. I will post it in the chat for you for any of you early birds that wants to go ahead and sign up for that. There is a cost for the exclusives, and if you can't make it, it's okay. If you sign up, they'll send you the recording. But just wanted to go ahead and put that on your radar for any of you that might be interested. And then finally, if you're not on social media, honestly, good for you. That's amazing. Love that you have carved out that space for yourself. But if you are and you aren't following Silk and Sonder on Instagram, highly recommend. They post all kinds of fun little, I don't know what you call these. They're like fun little graphic, informational graphics. I don't know, there's probably an official term. All I know is that they're really cute and they usually have like fun little tidbits and tips on them. So I follow the page. I like, yes, thank you, Nicole. Infographics, that's it. Or iconography. See, I knew there were words. And then also, if you don't have the Silk and Sonder app, Sonder Club, or if you do, but you usually just go on there and check out like the main feed where everybody posts, definitely get in there, poke around. There are other tabs and things. You've got the daily rituals. There's all kinds of fun like quizzes and bingos and mini meditations. So take a few minutes to kind of just dig around and see everything that's in there. I feel like every time I actually do, there's more stuff being added constantly. So just want to make you guys aware that all of these things are coming or out there or etc. Because, it can be hard to keep up with like emails and things like that. So anywho, on to our main event for this evening. Our agenda is that we'll be doing our bravery mind map. For those of you that may be new, the mind map is something that is exclusive to the weekly socials, where we will kind of get an extra prompt to help dive into our theme in a different way. So we'll do that. And then we'll do our rosebud thorn exercise that lets us sort of reflect on the last 7 days before we tackle that weekly setup and get into the next 7 days in front of us. So before we do our mind map, let's talk about our theme. So hopefully all of you know by now, because if you can believe it, it is the 21st of September. Hopefully you all know by now that our theme is bravery. And there's lots of really good quotes and things up here on the screen, but I'll call out just a couple that I want to mention. So one thing that I want to call out is the quote that's actually from the book series Divergent. I don't know if you guys have read it or not. If you have, cool. If you only saw the movies, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. They really took a hard right turn into something that was not the books. But the quote is, "We believe in ordinary acts of bravery and the courage that drives one person to stand up for another." And I really like that phrase of ordinary acts of bravery, because I think sometimes it can just be the bravery to stand up for yourself. And sometimes that looks like setting boundaries. Sometimes it looks like saying no, even when you know that might hurt somebody's feelings, but maybe it's what's best for you. I think those small acts of bravery really add up to big change. I also like the quote from Harry Potter where it says, "Harry didn't feel brave or quick-witted or any of that at the moment. If only the hat had mentioned a house for people who felt a bit queasy, that would have been the fit for him." And I love that because obviously Harry Potter is known as like this very brave character. He's in Gryffindor and all this stuff, but this is sort of proof that like even characters like Harry Potter that are supposed to be very brave are humanized in the fact that he's not brave all the time. And none of us are. Nobody is brave every single moment. And it doesn't mean that you can't be brave. It doesn't mean that you won't be. It's okay to still have moments where you feel unsure or a little queasy. And I think that ties in well to the Brene Brown quote in the top right of, "You can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you can't have both." Because ultimately, if you've gotten to a place where you're feeling really comfortable, then you're probably not being required to be brave anymore. And maybe that's okay. Maybe you've hit a level of comfort and that's exactly where you need to be, or it's exactly where you need to be in this season of life, right? And you've hit like a really good stride, and that's awesome. But it does mean that if that starts to go on for a while, maybe it's starting to get like capacity of like, okay, if you've been in that comfort zone for a little bit, maybe you have a little bit of capacity to stretch out a little bit, try something new, give that hobby you've been wanting to think about a try, whatever it may mean in your life, right? So hopefully some or all or none, it's okay, if these quotes resonated with you, and they will lead you into some good inspiration for our mind map. So each week we're exploring different aspects of bravery through our writing. And bravery isn't always a loud roar. Sometimes it's a quiet whisper, an inner compass guiding us through life's challenges. It's the courage to be vulnerable, to embrace the unknown, and trust in our own strength. So these prompts are designed to help you listen to that inner voice, unlock hidden truths, and cultivate a garden of courage within your heart. So this week, our question is, how can you cultivate bravery in your heart every day? And then we have this lovely explanation to kind of expand upon that. So we're going to ask you to imagine your heart as a garden and bravery as the seeds that you plant there. Each day, you have the power to water those seeds with small intentional acts of courage. What rituals or practices will you create to nurture this garden? Will you speak your truth more often, even in small moments? Will you say yes when your heart knows it's time? Write about the daily acts that will help you help your bravery grow. Each small step is a bloom, each quiet choice a blossoming flower. So I'll hop back and forth between these slides and everything. But I think that to break this down in a different way, this is really asking yourself to maybe think a little bit about what is that next sort of adventure that you're interested in, or that next passion? What's that next area that you really want to grow in? And what's kind of like maybe making you pause on making that next step, or making that choice, or signing up for that class, or whatever it is, right? Is there anything that you can do in your daily life to help you get more comfortable? So, an example might be maybe you want to plan a trip to a different country, right? But it feels really intimidating. And one of the things that you're not sure about is like, how does the travel even work? And they speak a different language. And how do I pack? And, all these things, right? So maybe something that you could incorporate into your routine now is starting like a free little Duolingo class to try to pick up on some of the language. Maybe if you do that a little bit each day, that will help give you more confidence to feel like taking that trip. Or maybe it's once a week watching some travel videos on YouTube to, again, get an idea of what that will look like when you're on the plane. What do the seats look like? How do people usually pack? Like, how does this work over there, right? And kind of just thinking about how you can do those small things now that will maybe give you confidence, to be brave in those moments and try that new thing that you're interested in. So I will put on some music for you all to think about this, and please share it in the chat what's coming up for you if you'll feel comfortable, and then we'll get into our rosebud thorn exercise. thank you all for spending some time with this prompt. If you're still working on it, that's okay. Keep doing your thing. But we are going to move into our next exercise. And I did post a link in the chat to where you can find the recorded socials. So if you want the more like in-depth explanation slide, like the one that's up on the screen now, that Katie posted those in the chat. But if you wanted to see the actual slides, you could just go back and check out those recordings and just kind of click through to where they're doing the mind map, and you'll be able to see those expanded slides there. But we are now going to move into our rosebud thorn exercise. So this should be on page 44, I believe. Yes, in your journals. But if you don't have your journal yet, or you already did a rosebud thorn, but you want to do another one, it's totally fine to do one anytime. You just need a blank page or space. And we're going to think about in the last 7 days a rose, which is going to be something that went well, something that made you smile, a bright spot, a bud, which is something that maybe could bloom, what's on the horizon. Maybe you're anxious about it, maybe you're excited about it, maybe a bit of both. And then a thorn may be something that didn't go so well, something that you could use some support with. So I always like to do mine in reverse. So my thorn is that on Friday, I was at work and I was working through giant spreadsheets like I usually do. And all of a sudden, my middle finger, of all fingers, started hurting like very intensely. And it honestly felt like I had like jammed it really hard into a door frame or something. Like it hurt to close it all the way. It hurt to straighten it out. I don't know what was going on. I tried to ice it and that made it worse. So I ended up going to like the orthopedic urgent care, and they took a look at it. And of course, like, it's just like overuse of the muscles in my finger or something. But they told me that I needed to leave it alone, which meant that I couldn't set up my slides for my socials because I was going to do it Friday night. So my rose is that my husband was nice enough to help me with that. So he sat there and listened to me give him all of these, directions of like, no, don't put that there, move it here, a little to the left. And he was very patient. And did what I asked to get these slides ready so that I could do my events for all of you. And then my bud is that I found out like a week or so ago that it sounds like I may have the opportunity to go to London again next year for work. So I'm excited about that. And I'm going to see if maybe I can hopefully plan something to see Katie while I'm there because she's up in Scotland. So I'm going to try to take like some extra time to be able to hang out with her and stuff. So hopefully that works out as planned. But those are my rosebud and thorn. I will put on some music for you all to think about yours. And if you feel comfortable, please share in the chat. I always love kind of getting a little glimpse into each other's lives. thank you all spending a little time thinking about last week before we move into the week ahead. Again, just like before, if you're still writing, if you're still typing and sharing, please continue to do so. Rosebud Bud Thorn is like, I don't know, it's probably my favorite part of the weekly setup just because I have had the pleasure of like hosting these for a while, and it's really cool to see like some of you come time and time again and get to really know each other through these exercises because we'll see like a thorn somebody's struggling with, and then a couple weeks later it gets a bit better or it turns into a rose, and kind of knowing like, oh my gosh, I remember when you were struggling with that, to see it get better. Like, you guys are just the most supportive community, and so that's why I like this exercise so much, because it shows that like we all have roses, buds, and thorns in our life. And sometimes a rose is just that you made it to the end of the week, right? A bud is that like tomorrow is a new day. And that's okay too. So it's nice to kind of see that we all have sort of those challenges and bright spots and balance in our lives and get to kind of connect with one another. So thank you all for spending some time with that and for taking time to share. We are now going to get into our weekly setup, which is on pages 46 and 47 this week. It's so crazy to think that we're on, what is it, week 39, I think, of the year. Is that what that says? I've covered it up with washi tape, so I can't tell. But gosh, it just feels like this year is flying by. Fully into fall. I think, isn't today the first day of fall, or it's the last day of summer, one or the other? So it's officially happening. But it's hard to believe that we are here. But here we are at another week, and I know lots of you have lots of things to try to figure out and schedule and rearrange and carve out time for you. So that's exactly what we're going to try to do with this weekly setup. So we'll tackle each of these sections one by one, and we're going to start at the top of page 46 in the section titled How I Want to Feel. If you all have done any socials with me this year, all you know that I usually like to incorporate my word of the year into this space. And my word of the year is serenity. So I just wrote a little reminder for myself this week of continue to prioritize your needs and serenity will flow. I recently made a change to my work schedule, and I'm going into the office later and staying later. And yes, it stinks to kind of be there so late, but I'm missing a lot of the traffic and I'm getting a lot more sleep. So I think ultimately it's been the best decision for me. So I need to continue to do those things, even when I know that might not be the fun decision. It might not be what I want to do. If I know that it's the right decision for me, I need to go forward with that. But there's a word cloud here for some inspiration. And don't worry, I'll hop back and forth between these slides as I give them to you. But here are also some great examples from Sonder Club. You can see from these examples that you don't have to pick just one word. You can pick several. You can pick a quote. You can do an affirmation. There's no limit to what you can do in the space that is given to you. And it's also okay if nothing comes to you immediately. Sometimes I have to figure out the rest of my week before I can figure out how I want to feel as I move through it. So this may be a space even that you'll have to come back to in a little bit, and that is totally fine. I'll put on a quick song for us all. If you'd like to share how you want to feel this week in the chat, we'd love to see it. And then we'll head into our next section. Okay, we're gonna hop down to the center of our page in the weekly to-dos and weekly major 3 goals section. So I am signed up for the personalized coaching and I get that delivered to me each week. You can get it delivered as often as you like, each day, every couple days, whatever works for you. But I do weekly and I have it set to send me 3 weekly affirmations. So that is what I put in my weekly major 3 goals. I used to put goals and things there. I tried a couple different things, but honestly, it just felt like whatever I put in that space, I was just kind of filling in a box. It wasn't actually like connected with something that brought me focus or motivated me. So I decided to start putting the affirmations here. Like, I don't know, it's probably been 6 months ago now. And this has worked so much better for me. So just a reminder to make the journal your own. Like, just because it says goals doesn't mean the goals have to go here. Just because it says to-do list doesn't mean that your to-do list has to go here. You can flip things around, reorganize, and repurpose in whatever way is going to make the most sense for you. So for my to-do section, I use the little calendar that's provided there at the top to kind of get a visualization of like, what do I have going on this week? What have I committed to? What appointments and things do I have? And I list those out. And then I usually try to tack on a little something at the end to kind of tie into those weekly affirmations. And this week I've said, stay on track during the week to enjoy the weekend, because I feel like that resonated with the affirmations and things that I got. Um, and you can choose to weave things together like that as much or as little as you want. So over on the right-hand side, you can see several examples where folks have kind of honed in on 3 areas of focus for their major 3. And then in their to-dos, they have written out ways to support those things or actions or to-dos that sort of go in with those different areas of focus. And then on the left, you have an example of how somebody has tied in their how I want to feel with their major weekly 3, with their to-dos, and then carried that into the habit and activity section. It's awesome. I love this one, the nurture myself, and then the creativity and mindfulness and physical wellness and the flowers, the focus of that over on the to-dos, and then the color-coded actions and the habits and activities that kind of go along with that. It's beautifully done. And oh, thank you, Gloria. I love it. I'm very obsessed with it. Thank you for sharing. I think it's amazing. Maybe at some point I will work my way up to what you've done here, Gloria. But you also can keep these sections completely separate. You do not have to tie them in all together. We just want to give you a lot of ideas and suggestions and possibilities. And this is like a menu, right? You can order what you want off the appetizers menu, or you can skip appetizers altogether and just do the main course. Again, whatever is going to work best for you. So here are some other examples of how you could use those weekly to-dos. If you've got a lot on your plate, maybe consider using that Eisenhower decision matrix to kind of see if you can make those to-dos a little more reasonable. If you're writing the same things over and over again on your to-dos every single week, maybe try the Pomodoro technique to see if that can help you get started on some of those things. You do not have to be productivity focused either. You can keep this related to your mindset. Maybe you want to try a to-be list, or you do want to tie this into how you want to feel and think about ways that you can use these sections to support that feeling that you want to call in. You can do a need, want, hope list. You can do a bingo. We love a bingo here at Silk and Sonder. So feel free to turn things into a bingo. If you've got something fun going on this week, if it's an anniversary, a birthday, if you are excited about the fact that it's fall, turn that, make a bingo around that. Make it fun. Give yourself a little bit of play and self-care to kind of be intentional about those bright spots in your week. You can do an embrace and release list or do's and don'ts. You could decide to try out some new routines here, or as always, you can always put stickers. We love stickers. I always say, if a sticker makes you smile, it's serving a purpose. So don't be afraid to stick them, because maybe you'll need that little smile in the middle of your week. Here are some examples for the weekly major 3. Like we've already seen, you could look at different areas of focus for those major 3. You could think about how you want to tie that into how you want to feel. Like me, you could list out affirmations here or some other form of self-care, or you can stick to those goals, set commitments, and hold yourself accountable in these spaces. Or you can switch things up. Like we talked about, feel free to repurpose, make these completely different. I like the weekly major 3 quotes. I think that is super fun. And I also like where people have swapped their to-dos and their goals. and literally flipped those sections because a lot of people find that the grid lines work better for them when they're making their to-do list versus they maybe don't need those lines over with their goals and things. So I will flip back through all of these slides that I just showed you. So don't worry, and then I'll put on some music for you all. As always, feel free to share in the chat how you're setting this up, and then we'll move into our next section. Okay, we are going to jump down to the bottom part of page 46 here in the section titled Habit and Activity. So the last several months, I've been using this as like a stress check-in space where I was kind of looking at physical symptoms for signs of stress to kind of help build my like mind-body connection a little bit better. So I could hopefully get a handle on when I am stressed before it's like, oh my gosh, I'm way overworked, overloaded, whatever. And it's been super duper helpful, and I'm happy to report that I'm feeling in a much better place with that. So I'm trying out some other things in this section now. I'm trying to get into more consistent movement with my body, just like a quick, like probably 15-minute little workout every day, like something really small, something hopefully achievable that will kind of get me into the habit. So these are the little exercises that I want to do. If I don't write stuff down, I have a tendency to forget them. So sometimes I'll have these great ideas of like, yeah, these are the little exercises I want to do. And then I go to actually do my exercises and I'm like, wait, what was I going to do again? Is this it? Is this all of them? So hopefully by having them here in a place where I can track them, I'll be sure to do them all. Courtney, it looks probably exactly like what you're imagining if you give it a Google, but it's supposed to like help to work out like your hips and your thighs and all that stuff. But anywho, You can use this section for whatever you need it to be for. And you do not have to fill in every single line. There is a goal column there. So if you want to set a goal of how often you want to do something this week, go for it. Also, if you're somebody that you know that you are motivated by rewards, like, if I walk XX thousand steps a month, I'm going to get myself a new pair of tennis shoes. If that will motivate you to do your steps, then you are a reward incentivized person, and that is amazing. And you should lean into that. So maybe if you do set goals, you should also set some little rewards for yourself at the end of the week to try to motivate you. I am unfortunately not motivated by rewards. I wish that I was, but it doesn't work for me. But if it works for you, I think that that's awesome. And I think that you should definitely use that as motivation to hit some of your goals and things. This can also be a great place to try out new areas of routine, or like me, if you have like a certain set of things you're trying to remember to do each day, kind of writing them out so they don't slip your mind. But also, you can repurpose this section just like all the other sections. You can try focusing more on activities versus habits, and maybe tracking something to welcome in the current season. Like we just talked about, fall is officially here, even if it is still almost 90 degrees outside in some places, here included. But maybe, before you know it, it'll be winter. And we don't want to let this season go by without enjoying the favorite things that we like about it. If you have certain flavors or certain activities, maybe start being intentional with those things in this activities section so you can make sure that you can absorb the current season before the next one comes along. You could also use this for connection with others, with yourself, with pets, with family, loved ones, friends and friends. Like I know I have a tendency to like forget to reach out to people until it's like 10:30 at night. And then I'm that person sending a text message like, hey, I hope this doesn't wake you up. I just wanted to see how you were doing. So this can help you be a little bit more intentional here. You can also use this as a place to track your interaction with your journal. If you're just getting started, especially, you could be like, okay, have I done my mood tracker page? Have I looked at my habit, my monthly habit wheel? When was the last time I read my intentions that I set up for this month? And kind of make sure that you're spending time in those pages and doing the things that you set out to do as like a little check-in. If you are signed up for the personalized coaching platform, you could also use this to track your engagement with that. Again, making sure you're writing down those areas so you don't forget to engage with them, because I will forget. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but if so, this could be a good place to remind you all the little goodies you want to check out in there. There's also some fun graphics or infographics up on the screen. I like the slow down menu. So even though this says habits and activities, maybe the habit and activity you need to focus on is slowing down. And this could be a great place to be intentional about that. So once again, I will put on some music for you all, and then definitely let us know how you're using this section and making it work for you. And then we'll head into our next activities together. All right. We are now officially flipping over to page 47, starting in the section titled Meal Plan. Now, this section gets repurposed quite a bit, and it's not because having a meal plan or maybe a meal tracker isn't beneficial. Depending on what your goals are, what you need to focus on, or, put eyes on and pay attention to, that might be exactly what you need this section to be. But it gets repurposed a lot because it takes up a lot of room in the journal. It takes up, almost half a page every single week. But also, the format is so good for so many different things. So sometimes people will rearrange this or make it something different, and I am no exception. I put all of my work meetings on here Monday through Friday. It really helps me feel more prepared going into the week and being able to very clearly visualize what some of my more busy days are going to be so I can kind of manage my expectations of my energy levels and things a little bit better. And then on the weekends, I do all kinds of different stuff with the Saturday and Sunday section. I don't think I've found anything just yet that has like stuck permanently. I've done a couple different things. But my husband and I's wedding anniversary is this weekend. We'll be celebrating 12 years. So I put a couple different things on there for us to consider doing this weekend to celebrate because we don't make a huge deal about our anniversary. We always do something fun. But we're not like oh, I've had this reservation for months kind of people. We like to be flexible. So I've given us some different ideas to kind of consider next weekend. And then here are some other examples of how you can use this section for you. Again, if meal tracking or meal planning is something that you want to do, this could be a great spot to do it. Or maybe you're working with your doctor on something and you need to kind of track like I don't know, at one point I was trying to get a handle on my acid reflux. And so it was helpful for me to kind of track, like, use the little water droplets as like fire droplets to like rate how bad the acid reflux was compared to what I was like eating and drinking. And so that was actually really helpful to figure some things out. So maybe you have something like that that you want to track, and this section could be a good spot to do that. You can also use this as like organization. So scheduling for yourself, for your family, if you are the person that has to keep up with kiddo schedules, or maybe you need to look at lesson plans or homework for yourself. Maybe you're in school, maybe you're going back to school. Maybe you are working on a new hobby that requires consistent engagement or practice. And so maybe you want to carve out some time for that here. If there's something you do on a daily basis, if it's scripture, if it's card pulls, if it's, reading some sort of meditations, maybe it's the personalized coaching platform. This could be a great spot to do that. If you've got a trip coming up, maybe you can plan outfits in these spaces. Again, just so many ways that you can use this space. I see a lot of people leaning into kind of food for the soul in this section too, and thinking about different prompts they can outline for themselves during the week. And also over on the right-hand side, you'll see an example of somebody who has put their to-dos over here, which I also think is a great place for that because again, it's outlined every single day. So if you need an every single day to-do list, this might be the place that you need to put your to-dos. So I will put on a song for you all to think about this section, and then we'll move into our next spot together. Thank you all for sharing. I saw some of you are all wanting to be writers. You've got some like aspirations. That's actually one of my bucket list things too, is to write a book. I have no idea what about, and I'm certainly not ready to commit to that goal just yet, but I'm very inspired by all of you. And maybe one of you all knows, is it November that's like, I'm gonna say this wrong. It's some sort of an acronym that's like National Novel. Yes, there you go. You guys know what I'm talking about. Thank you. You knew that I was not gonna get that. That's it's like, what is it? National Novel Writing Month or something like that is what it stands for. So November's like just a couple months away, really. Like it's just around the corner. So maybe if you start, kind of getting those habits in place now or thinking about them, who knows what you might do in November. We are going to hop over to our Mind Body Health Plan and shopping list over on the right side of the same page. The Mind and Body Health Plan is another spot that I feel like I've tried lots of different things in, and nothing has really stuck just yet. But what I've been doing the last couple of weeks is turning this into a little quote corner where I do a little reflection on the quote that is there at the top right of the page. I've always loved those quotes, and one of you all started doing this first. I don't remember who it was or who I saw do it first, but one of you all started doing this, and I was like, you know what? I like that. So I've been doing that the last couple of weeks, and I've really enjoyed it. So this will stick for at least a little while longer. And then for the shopping list, I do write down things that I like intend to buy, but maybe like not right this second, because it helps me to, one, not forget, and two, make sure that I don't impulse buy, because I have a tendency to impulse buy things because I'm afraid if I don't buy it right now, I'm going to forget that it exists or forget what it was or forget to come back to it. So making this little list helps me. And then underneath that little shopping list, I also keep a list of running projects for the same reason of, I'm not going to do any of these this weekend, but if I suddenly had a free Saturday and I was like, oh, what am I going to do this weekend? I could check this little list and see if maybe I could work on one of those longer term projects that I have. Here are some other examples of how you can use these sections. Of course, you can use them as intended, but you can also change them up. I like this little quote of the week. I love all the little mini bingos. I think that this is nice just to write yourself like a little note of encouragement or to lean into the theme for the month or maybe how you want to feel in this space and carve out something each day that you want to do to be more intentional about that. If you are going to make an actual mind body health plan, make sure that you're carving out time for rest. Rest is so, so, so important and you are deserving of it. And there are actually 7 types of rest. So if you've been getting a lot of physical rest and you still feel really tired, one, it might be time for a checkup with your doctor just to make sure nothing's going on. But also, you may need a different kind of rest. Like if you've been super like intense at work or intense with family or whatever it is, maybe you need to get outside a little bit, kind of separate from everything, give your mind a little break, and kind of have that mental rest, or one of those other categories up there. Here are some other examples of how you can use this section. As always, again, we love a sticker. So if you're not sure what to put in this section, you don't have to put anything. It's totally fine to leave it blank or wait for something to come to you, but it's also totally fine to fill it up with stickers and have a little bit of fun. So I will put on another song for you all and go through these slides. And then if you can believe it, it's going to be time for us to close out our time together. It always goes by so, so fast every single time. Thank you all for spending this time together with me and Katie, with all of your fellow Sonder fam here tonight, but also, most importantly, with yourself and making time for you in your journal. As we're closing out, if you would like to share one thing that you are currently loving, it could be something in general you're loving, something you're currently loving in this moment. We would love to see it. I am currently loving my new work schedule. It's amazing what consistent sleep will do for you. So that is my currently I am loving. Again, thank you all so much for being here. I hope that this helped you get some new ideas and spend some time in community and that you were able to get your planner set up for the week. As a reminder, feel free to post pictures of your pages on Sonder Club, or you can post them on social media if you do that. You can tag at Silk and Sonder. They would love to see that. Or like a selfie of you with your journal or in your setup space. We would love to see that too. Definitely feel free to share. We talked a little bit about the personalized coaching platform. I mentioned to you all, I use it as a part of my setup every single week. So if you are not already signed up and would like to learn more, we'll drop a couple links in the chat where you can view that. We'll also be dropping some links of where you can find the recording of this and like a zillion other socials, like we mentioned. So you can always go back and take a listen. I will also share my playlist. It is just like a giant, massive Silk and Sonder massive playlist that I just like pull random songs from. But you're welcome to take a look. I think it is up to 22 hours, so I'm almost up to like a full day of Silk and Sonder music or social music that you can take a look into. But again, it was our pleasure to be here with you tonight. I hope that you got it set up for the week ahead. And until next time, be good to each other, and we'll see you all in Sonder Club.